we have to talk about Nerdrotic and just how unconcerned, uncaring, unbothered he is by any of the issues that he tells you guys it's serious business. This is a serious problem with Hollywood. We have degeneracy in Hollywood. We have all these problems with Hollywood. But at the same time, everything's a joke. Everything is humor. It's all fun. It's all memes. It's for the clout. It's for the impressions, for the clicks. This is why, like, unserious people like Nerdrotic being at the head of what they call some sort of cultural movement is so incredibly frustrating, because they jump around from how detrimentally serious something is to just making fun of it. And here in this tweet, finally, a second lesbian kiss in Disney Star Wars. At least it's not SA. Not only is it extremely fucked up to compare a lesbian kiss to actual assault, we could have there could be a whole hour-long, 2-hour-long conversation about the history of trying to compare queer people to things like assault, unconsensual actions. There's a history of that. Matter of fact, you don't even have to dig that deep, honestly. You can just look through the history of these guys' channels, and you can see that there's a problem with that. However, he's not playing it serious here. This is a joke. Ha! Ha! Lesbian kiss. Slightly higher on the scale of really bad things, next to literal assault. See, it's funny. We're supposed to be laughing at it, right? That's the joke. The issue is that Nerdrotic has a history, an absolute history, documented history, of him having issues with gay people, lesbians, trans people in an irrational way. Irrational behaviors, irrational feelings, irrational fears about queer people. Making up statements about us, demonizing us. We have people that are on his show, like Melanie Mack, who call queer people evil. In politics, Marjorie Taylor Greene called queer people, gay people, evil. Democrats, evil. Progressive people, evil. They assign words and behaviors like that to our community because they want to demoralize us. So that anytime we have an opportunity to speak for ourselves or stand in line with everybody else or have a seat at the table, our voices are considered of less value because of where we are placed on the scale of morality and ethics and just general human beings. This is why there's certain people that I will not talk to. I won't debate with certain people because of how they view me as an individual person, because most of them don't even see us as people. Let's take a peek at a video from like over a year ago where Gary from Nerdrotic was on a stream with Alex Stein. Now, Alex Stein is a troll. He's a troll with a show and a platform. In a lot of ways, Gary is as well, but Alex Stein is like a cartoon character. So I don't expect him to take any of this stuff seriously because it's Alex Stein. However, Gary here is trying to have a quote-unquote serious conversation with Alex Stein about the plague of queer people in comic books. Let's watch this clip.
You know, they made Superman's son gay, right? But they've made a Robin gay, a major Robin, Tim Drake gay. And they made Iceman gay over at Marvel, and they're pretty much they've made Wolverine possibly bisexual now, and
Wolverine's bisexual. Wolverine's the biggest badass. Hugh Jackman is a homosexual now. I know he's not him anymore, but the guy that's Wolverine, the badass that's in the woods. So now he's broke back Wolverine.
Sure. It's the reason behind it. It's not a genuine reason to try to bring in representation. It is trying to follow the orders from the higher ups in the corporations to try to just replace things. These characters don't matter to anybody, and they do. And even and a lot of gay people are like, no, Wolverine's not bi. Superman's not gay. Batman's not gay.
So I want to point out just the weird, like the restrictions that are put on gay people existing in comic books. Let's unpack this. So Gary says that they're not genuinely They're not genuinely made or turned gay or whatever that is. What difference does that make? What difference does that really make? Because every single character in comics from that era was default straight because of the era of those comic books. So if you're going to see any sort of representation with those older characters, it's going to be in some sort of legacy format, like a sidekick who took on the mantle, a brother, sister, niece, nephew, son, daughter, whatever. They're going to be the ones that are going to take that up. But to him, that's not even genuine. He says it's being forced from the higher ups. He's trying to have this serious conversation about how detrimental all of this is to comic books here with Alex Stein. With Alex Stein. He's trying to have a serious conversation about this with Alex Stein, when clearly it's just him pushing his narrative, pushing his bigotry, and that's where we are. But it doesn't stop here. Even when a supporting character is present that happens to be a non-straight or non-cis character, they get trashed by these guys. I challenge you, if you're a fan of Nerdrotic, of FNT, find me a queer character in any capacity, movies, TV shows, comic books, find me one that they deem worthy to be a queer character. Whether it be an original character, whether it be a modified character, whether it's a character that came out later in life, find me one of them, any of them, that they say they are okay with, that they actually go, this is what we mean when we're talking about queer representation. We as straight people, or we as cis people, this is what we mean when we're talking about queer representation, since they're the ones that get to decide how we are represented in media. We don't get that opportunity. They do. Here he is making fun of Agatha All Along, a show where one of the main cast members is canonically gay from the comics. And he still has an issue with it. He still has a problem with it. So it doesn't surprise me that he doesn't see the value in anything that represents queer people, because you're going to get one of two responses from Gary when it comes to this. Either he's going to make fun of it, like he did in that original tweet that we looked at, where he compared a lesbian kiss to actual assault. He's either going to make fun of it there, or he's going to go on Alex Stein and try to have a serious conversation with a very unserious person about how it is so detrimental to change characters in the comics because of the problems it has on society. So those are the two things you're going to get from Gary. What you will never see from Gary is an admittance that queer representation, whether it be ungenuine, inauthentic, or actual genuine canonically fidelity of the characters carried from comic book to live action, you will never see him support it, sing the praises of it, or give it a thumbs up and say, this is what I mean when I complain about it. And therein lies the issue. Where are we allowed to be represented in any of this without being accused of something, or being told that it's ingenuine, or being told that it's forced in, or being told that it doesn't belong there? Where can we exist in any of this that is okay for the sensibilities, the emotions, the safe space needing straight cisgender people who have a problem with any media, including us? As of 2022, I looked these numbers up, less than 20% of all comic book characters in DC identified as something other than straight or cisgender. And a fraction of those characters were part of a major title, meaning most of them were background or supporting characters. Please point out to me right now in comic books where someone who is not straight or is not cisgender has a consistent, ongoing, monthly title that is supported by DC or Marvel from either one of those companies. Show me. Because all of this outrage is bullshit. It's all nonsense. These guys just want to control and gatekeep and have the say-so on how minorities and marginalized communities are allowed to be represented in media.